Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the channel. Today we'll be doing a video here in my garage, my extremely messy garage right now because I have so many projects going on. But this one will actually deal with comfort in your garage. Often you'll be sitting in a fancy seat like this one right here, this Harbor Freight Special. And you know, I'm kind of throw that out to the side here. And I went ahead and picked up one of these super fancy, made in the USA, Vyper chairs. You can get these off of vyperchair.com. Maybe you've seen the bombardment of advertisements for this chair. And also, if you've seen my previous video, you know, up here somewhere, I do have their fan, which has been quite nice. I'm actually having it right now, keeping me cool in my garage here in South Texas, where it is quite hot. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get this thing unboxed. We're gonna lay out the parts here, get it assembled, you know, to take a look at it, and you know, hey, is it worth the price? This is not a cheap chair. I could probably buy 4 or 5, maybe more Harbor Freight chairs with the cost of one of these chairs. So that's the question: is it 4 or 5 times better, or you know, are you just paying, buying into the marketing hype? You know, so we're gonna go ahead and get this thing opened up, and we'll take a look. Here we have all of the different components laid out on my workbench. And as mentioned before, kind of ignore the mess. I have a million projects going on, so that's why I'm trying to knock these out. And then hopefully I'll have a beautiful, clean garage once again. But real quick for reference, this is exactly what I had ordered. I had the elevated steel max with the quick height adjustment. I have the black, red, black combination. That means I have the black wheels, black chair with red hardware for the chair back and the legs and whatnot. I also added the tool tray, which is this right here, which will go at the bottom between the ring here. And then I also got 2 of the locking caster attachments. So if you look at the casters, here is a normal caster that you get, very nice, high quality. These things are super smooth, you know, smooth rolling. And that's one thing I heard some people complain about is you sit on your chair and you kind of roll into the sunset, which, you know, I want to lock it in place. So I picked up 2 of these nice locking casters. So what you can do is you can step on it and you can lock it, and then the wheel will no longer roll. And then you can unlock it probably with your foot instead of your hand. And now it free rolls once again. Since I added this with my order, they sent the complete caster already assembled. I believe they do have a kit to convert your normal caster into a locking caster. But since I ordered this with my chair, I got them pre-assembled, and they actually replaced 2 of my normal caster wheels. I plan on having the locking casters opposite each other on the chair, I believe, so I can get myself locked into place, you know, at the workbench, wherever, and I won't, you know, scoot off in one direction or another while I'm actually trying to work on something. So yeah, that's everything laid out. Instructions are super simple. Here you go. Pretty much, I mean, not the most in-depth thing, but they're not bad. Tells you everything you need. Breakdown of all the components. And then you have a kind of a supplemental that goes with them based on your components. So since I have the quick chair, which has the quick release to elevate and lower your chair instead of the threaded rod. That's a little supplement for that to tell you what you need to install. And then you have the supplement for the tool tray. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing together. I'm gonna have this video sped up through the whole process as it's zipping everything together. And once it's complete, you know, we'll take a look at it and see, you know, how it works out. Chair is assembled pretty easy overall. There are some hang-ups that I'm going to point out real quick. If you look at this lever here that goes in the chair, make sure you have the flats going to be, if you look at with the headrest here, it's going to be like this. If you want it angled so you have the lever off to the side here. So if you're sitting in the chair, the lever will be off here to the right. If you actually have it, the flats pretty much here and here, like this, in parallel with the back, you're gonna end up sitting directly with the lever between your legs or behind you. So keep that in mind on how you have this base attached to the bottom of your seat. Another thing I noticed with these wheels here, the locking wheels, they don't clear underneath the tool cart. You actually can see here they'll hit. So when you're rolling, it'll actually catch. So yeah, that's kind of annoying. Now once you get going in one direction, it's pretty good, but yeah, I might need to find like a big washer or something to lift this up, or I might just slice off the end of the lever here or something so it actually can swing underneath it. So it does not really play nice with the tool tray. So that's another note. You also will see me attaching this little washer with a screw here at the bottom. This is just so you don't accidentally pull the chair straight up and out of the leg mechanism. And at the end of the video, you'll see that I will be tightening all this stuff up at the end. Pretty much like any chair, you don't want to fully tighten all these bolts until everything is assembled, and then you go ahead and tighten everything down, and then hopefully it's nice and level. Real quick note, if it does have a quick release here, as you can see here, it's not a gas strutted like an office chair where if you lift this up, it'll, you know, with no weight on it, it'll lift itself up. That would be a very nice feature, especially for a chair that's this price point, to add a gas strut mechanism so I can, like, you know, lift up here. The chair will self-elevate. If I sit on it and I pull it, it'll, you know, cushion itself down. Maybe that's something they can look into in the future. So what you have to do is you have to lift this up, grab the chair, and manually lift the chair up, and then push it down, and it'll drop down to the spring. That's what the spring's for, so it doesn't actually bottom out, you know, through the bottom into the mechanism here. You find the rod into your ass, which would not be good. So overall, craftsmanship is super nice. I mean, all the parts are high end. It's got a nice powder coating. I didn't notice any defects. Chairs, you know, the leather, very nice material. You know, super nice quality. All the hardware is top notch. You know, everything's really, really high quality. It'll be, you know, we'll see if it's worth the price point, but you know, that'll be determined. I'm on the chair. I got the Vyper chair right here, sitting on it. As mentioned before, the assembly video, the main thing I don't like is with these add-on caster locks. As it is right now, I can barely roll the chair because the caster locks can't swivel to the wheels, so they just get pegged against the tray, and you pretty much have to drag the chair. So I'm going to be hitting up a Vyper, gonna ask them if maybe I can buy 2 normal wheels. Maybe I'll swap them out, or maybe I'll just leave 1 caster wheel. Maybe 2 was overkill. I was worried about the chair, you know, swiveling off of one thing while you're working on a workbench, working on something. I didn't want the chair to kind of just, you know, take off on its own. But right now, look, see, I can't even turn the chair because the casters just get locked up onto the tool tray. If I didn't have the tool tray, it wouldn't be an issue. And really, tool tray is probably overkill for the higher chairs versus the lower chairs, since I can't really reach anything off the tool tray. But I was just mainly using it to maybe keep some paper towel or something on the tray that I can reach down and grab while I'm working on the workbench or something like that, or maybe some, you know, small items, not necessarily tools. So other than that, I mean, I'm, you know, 230 pounds, 6'2" for reference, and the chair feels pretty comfortable. Maybe the seat base could be, you know, shaped maybe not just a circular, maybe more of a rectangle shape, you know, a little bit wider, but not quite so thick in the front. But, you know, a personal preference on that. But like I said, I can't rotate around. Also, if you notice, I did add the rear rubber guard on the back of the steel spine here, just so you don't accidentally roll back, hit like your car, and then just gouge it and destroy the paint. I have my car behind me right here. I would be very, very depressed if I took that powder coated steel without the rib guard and just gouged my car. So that's a cool feature. That, I mean, all it is some rubber trim that you could probably buy from the hardware store for a couple dollars. I just went ahead and added it. It was super simple to install, and you just had to trim it a little bit and it snaps right on. You know, overall, you know, compare this to the Harbor Freight chair. It's definitely feels like it's gonna last 10 times longer, and I like how the cushions the screws to actually mount the hardware is tapped and threaded with actual steel inserts. I had another Harbor Freight chair and a number of other chairs I've seen where it's just threaded directly into like wood or something like that. And if you strip it out, you know, your chair's gone, it's ruined, and unless you completely, you know, fill it with some wood glue or something like that and re-thread it. But having the threaded inserts is super nice, because like I said, I did destroy a chair that didn't have these, and I just ended up throwing it away because it was like a $20 chair. Now, you can definitely tell where the money goes into the powder coating was all real well done. And you know, once I get these these casters swapped out with the normal ones, I think this chair will be perfect. Now, I don't know, maybe it's a little too high. I do have a real high workspace, so I guess I'll have to see where it's at. But it does have this nice little footstool, you know, ring, which is nice. And you can actually, it has a pretty good range of motion, as you can see here. And you can just drop it straight down. So not super low. So I can put my feet on the ground here at the lowest position, and then this is the highest position. Not a huge range, you know, height, elevation change. So they definitely, I mean, if they wanted to, they could probably have this maybe drop down, have maybe a wider, but not such a tall spring to let you drop the chair a little bit further down, and maybe even add a longer rod. You have plenty of space here to the base where a longer rod, you could actually raise it up, you know, some crazy height. But I guess maybe that's a fall hazard or something like that. Maybe the stress can only go to a certain height before you might tip over or something else. But you know, maybe they could offer a various seat bottom, backrest, size options. They just offer colors and stitching, but maybe if they offered like a rectangular one, maybe like a bicycle seat or something shape one, you know, a wider or a taller backrest, just allow more customization than just the powder coating, the stitching, and the material coverage. And like I said, my big thing is when they do offer, I know it's a recent addition, was the locking casters. Maybe they didn't take this into effect of having the tool tray down here. Maybe they need to throw in a set of washer spacers or something like that to lift it up right here a little bit higher, so these could actually clear underneath the tool tray, or just provide a smaller lever, or redo this mechanism to work with this, or at least tell us that, hey, this ain't gonna work with the tool tray. Or maybe they did and I just didn't read it. But I'll go ahead and let me grab my Harbor Freight chair. I'll kind of throw it side by side so you can take a look at two similar chairs, and you can really see the difference in the quality. Both chairs here side by side. I have the Harbor Freight, and then I have the Vyper chair, of course. Now, Harbor Freight, significantly cheaper, much lighter of a chair. I mean, very light. This one is much harder to pick up because it does have the quick release, but I mean, it's probably double the weight. Now, a feature I do like of the Harbor Freight compared to the Vyper chair, it does have the gas strut here to lift the chair up. And of course, look at the height here. It's full swiveling, which is nice. This one does not swivel. You have to actually swivel the entire chair. This, you swivel just the upper portion. The bottom, of course, has no caster, so it stays in place. This one, as mentioned, swivels around. Now, this has no gas strut ability. It's mechanical. You actually have to get your hand underneath it, hit the lever, and then you can lift it to its highest position. And they're pretty comparable. I think the Harbor Freight might be just slightly taller of a chair. And then if you want to drop them back down, mechanical again, drop straight down, land on the spring. That's as low as it gets here. And of course, the Harbor Freight, it should be sitting on it to lower it, but you can lower it down here. The Vyper chair gets a little bit lower. I heard that if you do not have the quick release version, you have the one that you have to spin screwed into place. It actually gets a little bit lower than this, but because it has a spring underneath here to catch you, so you don't get the rod up your old pie hole there, it doesn't have quite the ability to go quite as low, which is kind of a drawback there. This is made of much more durable, you know, I guess it's made in the US, completely made in the US. I'm not sure the source of the materials, but everything is solid, welded, powder coated steel. I mean, this thing is built for war. This thing is just hollow tubes and you know, some base hardware. It kind of rattles. You know, I'm pretty sure if I dropped this or flung it a little bit, it probably wouldn't survive the process. This thing is ready to go. You know, if my house gets hit with a tornado, I probably would find this chair down the road in a field and still be able to sit on it, and it will probably still function. So it's one of those things. It's also, I believe, 4 times the price of the Harbor Freight chair. So that's why I got my wife the Harbor Freight. I got myself the Gucci chair, I guess you could say. Like I said, my only complaint is these locking casters, which is an add-on, so you don't have to worry about it if you don't get those. I'm going to email them, get those swapped out, and pretty much, I mean, you lose the capability of your roller chair. I mean, it just, yeah, I don't know what was going on with that. Maybe they mentioned it somewhere that you're not supposed to include that with the tool tray, and maybe I just missed it. So anyways, to wrap that up, glad I got this thing together. I've actually had it for like a month before I finally got around to assembling it. I already have their turbo fan, which is behind the camera over here. You can see my video is mentioned, you know, in the up here somewhere. And fan's great, super quiet, good amount of air, and you know, I think it's built for war as well. And yeah, you know, I got a million projects coming up, trying to knock these out. Stay tuned. A lot more stuff with the garage itself. Putting the Swiss Trax flooring in for part of my garage. I got some arc plasma cutters. So I'm gonna be chopping stuff in half. I got a welder. I'm gonna try to figure out welding so I can fix some stuff. And I'm trying to crank these out, and hopefully you guys enjoy them. And yeah, as always, feel free to like, subscribe, share, you know, all that fun stuff. And I'll come back with either a post or a video, follow-up video, when I get the appropriate non-locking casters on here, so I can actually wheel this thing around as it's intended, and maybe take it off-road, you know, do some maybe pull some Jeeps out of some ditches with this thing, and we'll be good to go. So anyways, as always, have a good day. Peace.
Say, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
And you guys thought the video was over. Not quite. My big complaint was with caster locks here, and it turns out you can actually remove these quite easily. Single nut. It is a 9/16. Remove it. It is kind of hard to get the screw out there, so I just get a hammer, couple quick taps on the end of the bolt here, pops out, and then this actually can pop right off, put the bolt back through. So notice the nut here is a little bit larger, and then the nut for the one that had the caster lock on there is a thinner nut to, I guess, give room for this plate to slide over. It sits like this, pretty much. I removed it, and as you can see, hey, no more binding or any craziness. So that will actually wrap up the video. So, peace again.